fearful of making sales calls? Do you just get really tightened up when you have to pick up that phone and call somebody and ask them to buy what you have to offer? Welcome back to Pursuing Profit with Principles. You are going to love my guest this morning. I am delighted to have with me Eddie Sand. Eddie, I love what his profile says, transforming gritty sales calls into profitable conversations. How to double your sales revenue without cold calling or pitches. Oh, welcome, Eddie. We all need you.
Thank you. This is so I love Regina what you just said, because it's that last part. Most people catch their attention on that last part. How? What? Without pitching
Yeah,
and without cold calling? And it's possible, but yeah,
it
thank you so
is.
much for having me here, because I'm so excited to just share the wealth that
Awesome.
we have.
And you know that I love that you put it that way, because truly, when we overcome that fear of closing sales, then we are able to make more revenue, more profit,
Yeah.
share the wealth, right? We all become more
Yes.
successful. So Eddie,
Yes.
let's back up just a hair, because we could just keep on going here really easily. But I want folks to know a bit more about you. So will you tell us a little bit about what brought you to this point and who you serve?
Yeah. Okay. So purpose-driven entrepreneurs are the ones who are usually looking for someone like myself. And like you said, they're having a hard time increasing their sales revenue and their conversions. That's really what they look like, right? And it's a whole sales process. And why that's happening is because they're having trouble asking for the sale, because inside they're heart driven, they're heart
Right.
purpose driven individuals. So it's a little bit of a challenging. How do you do that without feeling pushy or begging?
Yeah. Yeah.
And also they get way too many sales resistance. I think it's unnecessary. So that's practically what I do. So I go in there and I have a specific method that we can talk about it too, and that creates basically transparency in the sales conversation. It shortens the sales cycle, so that's actually something that everyone will love to do, to
Yes.
have. And it produces deeper business relationships with clients, which is so missing today.
Yes.
Everybody seems to be, companies seem to be more money driven than purpose driven.
Yeah.
So bottom line, that's what I do, and that's how I get things done. And you asked me why or how did I ended up doing this? It's because I've been doing this for 20 years. It's just that since 2012, I found out the online internet world. And I did, like I think most individuals do when they see an opportunity. I dived in, uh, broke a lot of arms, legs, limbs, hair falling off. Like I did it all, right? To find out that in my world, in the sales world, it's the same in online. I just was caught up in the wrong path, right? I just
Mm,
mentioned that right now. I mentioned before that there's money driven marketers or money
right.
driven, right?
Right.
And then there's
Yes.
purpose driven. I was learning from the money driven marketers and professionals, and I just
Right.
could not align.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is so true. And what you mentioned about the heart-driven, purpose-driven entrepreneurs, money is not the motivator for most of us.
Yeah.
Money is the measuring stick. Money is the thing that allows us to do more of what we want to do, more of helping people in the world. And so we get, it's like, oh, I'd do it all day long for free. But you can't help all the people you want to help if you're doing it all day long for free. You have a very limited sphere of influence and impact in the world. Now, that's not to say that every life you impact doesn't make a difference. It does. And it makes a multiplied difference, because that life, that person goes out and changes other lives, what we call the ripple effect.
The ripple effect. Yeah.
That's what motivates me, is that ripple effect. But the ripple is so much bigger if you can
Mhm.
help more than one person. And
Yeah.
it takes money to do that.
Yeah.
And it takes money to feed our families and put a roof over our head.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
nothing inherently wrong with making money for what we do. Most of
No.
us that are heart centered just are not motivated by the money, but it's a part of the process and something that's needed in our lives.
Yeah, and you know that right there, the ripple of impact that we all can have in someone's life, someone's business, someone's family.
Yeah,
We don't think about that as much as we should.
agreed.
I have had, Regina, I have had moments where I think it was maybe definitely before the pandemic, definitely. And I would go live on Facebook Live. I would do it once a week, sometimes twice a week, and I just committed. I stepped up and showed up.
Yep.
Well, for so many months, almost over a year, I started getting like, you know, who's
Is it
listening,
helping?
right?
Yeah,
Right? Like I'm
right.
like,
Yep.
I get the same people, or I get one like or two. And this one morning, I'll never forget because it was a very impactful, talking about ripple of impact, right? Um, I never forget this morning that I really thought, okay, this will be my last one. That's it. Like I just don't want to do this anymore.
Right,
And I gave it all, right? Nothing, no hold back.
right.
And after the live video, I get this random message, random, don't know the guy. And he basically says, hey, this is something I needed to hear today. I
Wow.
was walking through the campus. So I don't even know if he was a student or a teacher. I don't know. But he said, I was walking through the campus. I got to listen to your video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back when my day ends, and I'm going to go back and watch it again. So thank you for that. And that was
Wow.
perfect. What I do, Regina, I'm like, darn it, I can't give up now.
You can't give up now. You're making an
Now I gotta
impact.
keep going. Thanks a lot, buddy. You know,
Yeah. Well,
but
and God knew you needed that message.
right,
Yeah,
right.
because you're doing
So
the right thing.
exactly. So the
Yeah.
ripple of impact. Sometimes, again, we're not really thinking, looking at it that way. That it may be that one person, just
Yeah.
one,
Just one.
that needs to hear what you have, what you
Yeah.
have to say, needs to see what you do, because that's
Right.
encouragement enough. And
Yes.
it's just one. But see,
Yeah.
at the same time, that one person gave me back that impact too, to keep
Yeah.
going.
Exactly. And
So
we never know what all of the impact is that we make. And you mentioned that we don't focus enough on that local impact, if as it is, I mean, I have a motto: save a business, save a marriage, or save a family, because when business owners are struggling, the family is impacted negatively. Families fall apart, children learn the wrong messages and go out and duplicate poor family practices, right?
yeah,
um, Business owners commit suicide when their businesses fail.
yeah,
Communities are impacted. You have, if that business owner had employees, all of those lives are impacted and their families when that business
yes,
fails. The community itself is impacted when that business fails, not just those individuals, but the community, the tax base. That
yes.
impacts our region all the way up to the national levels, which that impacts our place in the world, right?
Yeah,
Every business
absolutely.
has that impact
Yeah, the way you
throughout
just
the
put
world, and
it,
we don't think about that.
yeah, the way you just said it, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like that's huge.
It is. And you
Yeah.
multiply that times all of those businesses. And that's why it's so sad to see our businesses go under, our small businesses.
Hmm.
And everything that you and I can do, and others, who do what we do to save those businesses and to help them be profitable,
Yes.
to be able to make a difference in the world is, it's worth everything, right? It's worth
Yeah,
that
it
feeling that
is.
you had of I'm not making a difference, and then finding out that yes, you are.
Yeah.
It's
It,
worth
it
that daily struggle of getting it done.
Yeah, and that right there ties to what you just said before too, where having a hard time to charging for it. Like you would do it for free
Yeah.
and forget to ask for money. And again, this is the conversations I have very often. I would say 9 out of 10, I always end up asking that entrepreneur, that business owner, that team to increase price. Not
Right.
because they
Agreed.
should, right? Not because I think you need to make more money, but because when I see that the value and the time behind the scenes and
Yeah.
everything that they're doing,
Yes.
and then they're just asking for something small, I'm thinking, uh,
And often losing money in the process.
yeah, because
Yes. Yes.
and you know where they get this, Regina. Talking, this is a big impact. I think we're gonna focus on impact because they are being impacted by
Yeah.
the money-driven marketers out there, the money-driven companies who
Yes.
hype up. They
Yes.
hype up making money online, making money with
Yeah.
your business,
Yeah.
and they basically teach over delivering and I mean, excuse me, over promise and under deliverance type of
Right.
attitude. That's what they do.
Right.
So they're thinking, oh, I have to start with a small thing. I have to start with no, it's too much. So I have one this she still is a coach to VAs. She has a program. She gets them set up very well. And again, heart center entrepreneur, great individual. So I met with her and she came to me and she's like, Eddie, I don't know why I'm getting all this sales objections. I just keep getting. I said, well, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, well, yeah, you're supposed to, like, but I didn't tell her that,
Yeah.
right? I'm like, okay. And I said, well, what is it? And she said, well, they have to talk to their spouse. I'm like, okay, yeah, like that's normal too. I
Right.
said, so, but then the next part is what caught my attention. And again, this is what showed me her heart. She said, because of that objection, what I do is after a 45-minute conversation with the woman, because that's her audience, with the woman, and she doesn't decide she has to talk to her husband, what I do is I take the time to record a personalized video for
Oh, for the
her to
husband.
show her husband.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I said, hold up. I said, do you do that for every? She said, yes.
Wow.
It's taking her 15, 20 minutes after, right?
Right.
I said, well, are you married? Like, is this objection? Is that because you're she's like, no, she's single. I'm like, wait, what? Let's see what you're doing. Like, how do you, right? How can you be single and still attract that objection? Like,
Right.
wait, right? So I saw her everything, the whole thing. I rewrote
Right.
some of the things. I said, do this, do that. Just kind of basically saw her sales script, which she needed to definitely have because of her heart, definitely change it. She was caught up in
Right.
that money-driven thing.
Right.
Uh, and then her presentation, and then her asking. Now here is the catch on this one. She was asking for deposits only. So
Okay.
$200, $300 deposit to start her $4,000 program.
Right.
I said, her name is Adrian. So I said, Adrian, can you please ask for 4,000? She looked at me like, oh, you want me to ask for? I said, Adrian, that's how much your program is. Why wouldn't you ask for that?
Right.
So, but again, it's just the way that she was programmed, the impact
Sure.
that all those money-driven marketers had on her. She was
Right.
transferring that to her peers, to her
Yep.
conversations.
Yep.
And so she was afraid to ask for the value that she was asking. Sure enough, after that conversation, she calls me that end of the week. She's like, you're not gonna believe it. I made $8,000. I say, 8,000, let me guess. 2 calls?
Two
She's like,
calls.
yes.
Let me ask you something. Do you teach permission-based marketing in your closing? Do you have them do permission-based marketing?
No. It's
No.
it's
Okay.
more of a consultative type.
Okay.
It's almost like this. This is how it is really simple. There's 2 adults on the call.
Right.
You obviously, this is how I see it, this is how I teach it. You obviously are talking with me because you saw something that I may have. But even
Right.
if I don't, I will point you in the right direction. So
Right.
let's just be transparent and genuine. If I cannot help you, I'll just see my network and
Find
see who
someone.
can,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So, but at the end of that conversation, pretty much that person should know, okay, I like the guy, I like the
Right.
gal, I see that they can help me. What's
Right.
the next step, right?
Yep. Yep.
The challenge with the closing techniques or the pitches is
Mm-hmm.
that you don't allow that person to be who they are. You don't
Yeah.
allow them to be an adult that can make choices,
Right.
and you
Right.
start presenting, well, option A, option B, now
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
later, here
Yeah.
or there. Like,
Yeah.
could you stop
No.
that?
Yeah.
Right?
Agreed.
So my thing is, one of my parts in the SAD method that I have, the D stands for basically detach. I was in the Marine
From
Corps,
the
so
outcome.
no, yeah, the detachment. We
Yeah.
used to detach from the helicopter or detach from the airplane, right? We just have to
That's a
jump,
big
right?
detachment.
That's a
That's right.
huge detachment, right? But that's what we need to see it as, because I
Yeah.
remember being, scared, trembling. My
Right.
knees were trembling, and I'm thinking, oh
Yes.
my goodness, but I have to do it.
Right.
Well, we need to
No
learn to
choice.
no choice, right? We need to learn to detach from
Yeah.
that conversation and
Right.
allow that individual to make the
Yeah.
choice. It's like, leave it at the kitchen table,
Right.
because you've done what you can to educate
Exactly.
and to
Yeah.
let them know,
Yep.
I'm here for you. You
I
know?
like it. I like that
Yeah.
a lot. I think we all have a lot to learn from you, Eddie, in terms of sales. Now, I want to talk to you. You talked about you like to serve heart-centered entrepreneurs. You have a heart for charity yourself.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what you do in the charity world and
Yeah.
how
So
you show up there.
yeah, so I tell you what, this is recently just happened, and it's because God has been kind of calling me on that, and I just haven't really paid much attention. You know how we get busy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it was so cool how that happened. But being in the military, as I was in the Marine Corps, I left. This was
Thank you for your service.
oh, thank you. This was years ago, possibly now 20 years ago. But I'll never forget the feeling of leaving my brotherhood, my home, my world that made sense. I'll
Right.
never forget the feeling of being alone. And literally, I still had that positive attitude. I still who I am, I was back then, but I was missing my family.
Mm,
That's how I
wow.
felt.
Yeah.
And so I'll never forget that. So when I heard that other veterans, especially those wounded, right, they leave,
Right.
and it's like where they go. There was always something that caught my attention, and like I said, years passed by, and just never really dig deep into what to do or how to do things until uh, last year. Last year, I all of a sudden it was that time. It's like, okay, I have to do something. Like, it's
You're
still in
listening
me.
to the message.
Yeah, right. Like, come on. So here's what happened. As soon as I decided in my heart that I needed to get involved somehow, I decided to go and look at the charities. I decided to go look what, where, and how. And I
Right.
found that there were some good here, something that just didn't connect me with me. I wanted someone that I can actually say, okay, my time, my money, gather money, and you'll do something with it. I didn't want the
Right.
ones that just gather the money and spread it out to other charities, right?
Right.
So sure enough, right? God is good, because all of a sudden I find this one, which is across the river from me. So it's like 20 minutes from me.
Oh, nice.
And not only that, I connected with them because it's called Operation Barnabas. Barnabas. You can go to operationbarnabas.com. And what happened was that they actually take someone, a veteran in crisis. They take them from where they're at to where they want to be. So whether that is they need a home, they have hotels. They need food and clothing, they have that. They need a car, they'll help them. They need
Wow.
housing, they need whatever, and then they need a job, and you're good to go. But here's the one thing that I appreciate about them. They actually go 50-50. You do
Okay.
some work, we'll help you. You do it, we'll help. I
Gotcha.
appreciated that because, see, not
Yeah.
because I told my wife that, and they're like, "Oh, well, why didn't you just help them? All." Well, it's good to do that. However, military, we are mission driven.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
all about the mission, right? So you give
Right.
us a mission, immediately we ignite that in us
Yes.
and we go
Yes.
after it. And now we get support.
Right.
It's like,
And
that's
you're and
genius.
you're I don't even know how to say this, but internally you're being taken care of by being given that mission to do. You are now
Yes,
lighting the fires inside again.
exactly. That was like, it
Yeah.
caught my attention. And sure enough, the John, who runs the place, he just calls me up. And this was that time where I was also looking and searching. I found it, but I had not made the choice. He calls me up and we had a conversation. I'm like, okay, John, this is it. So they also have individuals who can be coaches to the veterans as well. So
Right.
I get to have my time for them, so that way mentally, and they feel like they have that family still, they can
Yeah.
go through everything
That's
or
awesome.
anything. Yeah,
That
it's
is
a
awesome.
wonderful thing. And man, I guess if anything, like I said, it's when I left, I know how it feels, but I can only imagine, and I hear it, but I just don't feel that. I can only imagine when they're wounded,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, or worse. It's like practically they have no one. They come from a
Yeah.
bad family. That's why they went and
Right.
joined, and all of a sudden there's
Right.
no one
And
to
now they have nothing to
support
come
them.
back to. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. I have a heart for veterans as well. And it definitely an area that I like to be able to give in. Um, can you believe we are out of time?
I know it. I know it because when we're having fun, right? Time flies.
Yeah. We're going to have you back, Eddie. We're going to have you back and we're going to do this again and dive
I
deeper
love it.
into what you do. So this was wonderful though, having you here today and
No,
getting to
thank you so
share
much,
you with
Regina.
our audience.
Yeah, thank
So
you so much. I appreciate your invitation. I really enjoy conversations with you. You have good questions, and you ask the right ones too. So you get me all ignited. I'm like, bam, yes, let me
good,
tell you.
good. I love it. I love it. Thank you for that feedback. All right. Well, folks, we have to say goodbye, unfortunately, because I could sit here and talk to Eddie all day. It'd be fun, but we can't. So, excuse me. So we hope you'll join us again for Pursuing Profit with Principles. We're here every morning at 8 o'clock Central Time. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Today, over 1 billion children in the world live in poverty. At Help Heal Humanity, our goal is to connect children in need with people like you who want to make a difference. Our student sponsorship program helps provide children with the necessities for a healthy and successful start to life. When you sponsor a student, you're not only giving them the gift of education, you're giving them the best chance for a brighter future. 100% of your donation supports the tuition fees, uniforms, textbook, and school supplies needed to thrive in a safe and healthy learning environment. Sponsor a student now and be the catalyst for their brighter future.
yeah, if you think you're going to do it in your own strength, then you know what? Yeah, you can do it.
COVID, it's been helping people move their businesses from offline or brick and mortar to online.
Systems are more important than skills as an entrepreneur today.
It's totally okay to reinvent yourself.
Yes.
Multiple times, especially when you're an entrepreneur.
Welcome to Profitable Coaching Conversations with WendyY Bailey. If you're a coach, speaker, or industry expert, you're in the right place for sales and marketing wisdom and insight to grow your coaching business. Now, here's your host, Income Acceleration Mentor, WendyY Bailey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this bonus episode of the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with WendyY Bailey. I'm so happy to be here with you today. As a reminder, I am WendyY Bailey. I'm a 20-year master business and sales coach. I'm a veteran in the coaching industry. I'm an OG in the coaching industry. And so what I try to do when I'm talking to you this way or when I'm serving my clients, I really try to impart from the wisdom that I have around whatever topic that we're focused on for the day. If you're here and you're joining me, you're either following me on LinkedIn, on Facebook in my Profitable Coaching Society group, or you are watching me on YouTube, the Profitable Coaching Conversations show. If you're here live, be sure that you go to the comments below the video and say hello and let me know you're here. If you're on Facebook, you need to grant StreamYard permission so that you can, I can see who you are in making your comments. If you're catching the replay, just type hashtag replay in the comments below. And when you type hello, when you type hashtag replay, then I know that you've seen it. And if you have any questions, I'm there to answer your questions as well. The focus of what I do is in three categories: business, marketing, and sales. Business, it's all about processes and systems and making sure you understand how automation works. For marketing, it's about visibility strategies. It's what you do to launch your programs into the marketplace. And for sales, it's about a conversation. It can be one-to-one conversations. It can be one-to-many conversations. And there are some other kinds of sales conversations I talk about. Hey, Sherry, there's some other things that I talk about, but it includes email marketing as well as copywriting. So everything is really about a conversation. So let's kind of jump into our topic for today. I love having this conversation specifically about how to raise your coaching fees. I've been really working with clients in this area for about 6.5 years. I have a program I created. I'm going to tell you about that a little later, but I started with a program that I created in 2016, and it was pretty comprehensive, right? But what I noticed over the 3 years that I delivered it was that the focus for most people who were here, who were part of that program, was all about pricing and how they looked at pricing. So over the past 1.5 years, I pulled it out of that bigger program and I put it into another program where I'm focused on teaching you, touching you, helping you really understand how to price your coaching services. So today's topic is all about how to set or raise your fees with confidence. How to set or raise your fees with confidence. And I want to tell you that when you think in terms of what it takes to set or raise your fees, mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. Mindset is everything because when you understand what's important in your pricing, you know that there are 4 words that you must know what they are. It's a WendyY-ism. It's one of my catchphrases. I charge for that. I charge for that. That's 4 words, right? And what it says is it's not about using those 4 words per se. It really is about the spirit of that language. It's the spirit of the, I'm adding value in the marketplace and I deserve to be compensated for that value. When you understand the I charge for that mindset and the way of thinking, what you're going to find is you won't undercharge anymore for what you do. You won't undervalue your services, and you'll begin to attract clients who value what you do, who recognize the value of making an investment in working with you at that pricing level, at that fee that you set for your coaching program or your service, okay? So I charge for that is founded in what you believe about your coaching, about what you bring to the marketplace. I charge for that reveals what you understand about your value. It's not your worth. Your worth is priceless. So I don't want you to start using the word worth instead of what I'm using. Your worth is priceless. People can't pay you your worth, but they can compensate you. They can pay you for the value you bring through your coaching. And that's what's really, really important. Okay. And then the last thing is I charge for that as a mindset, really does speak to your values and what's important to you, right? When you understand what's important to you, then you can articulate your value. You can communicate what you do in ways that people recognize what you're offering. And the right ideal clients will come to you and they'll be ready to invest in hiring you. So let's jump into a couple of pieces of content. The reason I charge for that is so important is because it's the foundation that you build everything on in your business. It's the foundation that defines how you set fees for your programs. It's the foundation for how you build and grow your business. It starts with that. Yeah, I charge for that. Thank you for posting that in the comments. Remember, if you're on Facebook, to grant StreamYard permission so that I can see who you are in the comments and I can support you and acknowledge you for that. So, brick by brick, with strength and faith, I charge for that gives you the foundation for building and growing your business. I remember a few years ago, I was I had traveled to Detroit and I met a couple of colleagues while I was there. And one of the colleagues that I met, I had seen her in the public eye. She was doing stuff. She was always posting that she was speaking somewhere on Facebook. And so we went for dinner and I was like, oh, I can tell you're really doing some great things. I'm excited. She said, well, I'm doing a lot, but it's all for free. It's all for free. And I said, wow. And I said, well, let me give you 5 words that are going to deliver you from free. As people are coming to you and they want you to speak, they want you to, they want to hire you as their coach. They want to tap into your brain power, your energy, your content. These 5 words will help you. Let me show you how. Let me show you how. 5 words that will turn an opportunity that is free, where someone is not paying you, to understand the shift in value those 5 words have just given you. And she started using those 5 words. I haven't followed up that with her, but she's doing even some bigger things. I want to say she's doing movies and she's doing anthologies and she's doing a whole lot in the marketplace, right? When you understand how to language what you do, it means that you know your value, you understand what goes into value. I'm going to get to that in just a second. And you understand the value of your programs and you understand that it's about the result. Let me say this about fees. I always say it and I don't want to miss out on saying it today. Coaching is not a linear activity, so stop charging by the hour for your coaching. Coaching is not linear, so stop charging by the hour for your coaching. That means that you can't charge X number of dollars an hour. People are paying you when they come to you for coaching. They're paying for a specific result. They're paying for transformation. And when you can deliver that transformation, then they see that it's not about the time you invested in coaching them. It's not about the number of sessions that you offered them. It really is about the strategy, the development, the coaching, the putting the mirror in front of them seeing things that they need to see for themselves, them arriving at their conclusions, moving forward over hurdles and past roadblocks. All of that is tied into result. All of that is tied into the transformation that you deliver your clients to. So when you think about the I charge for that way of thinking and being, I want you to understand that you're building blocks on value. You're building blocks on that transformation. You're building blocks on the result that you're creating and helping your clients create based on the coaching that you're doing. So I talked about I charge for that. Let's see. So let's get into the 5 things that will help you set or raise your fees with great confidence. The first one is ideal client clarity. Now, the WendyY concept is ideal client clarity and the power of one. Ideal client clarity and the power of one. One ideal client, one core problem, one comprehensive solution, one. When you understand that that's what you're really doing, one ideal client, one core problem, one comprehensive solution, then you can deepen your content. You can make the experience of coaching with you much richer than just trying to appeal to the masses. I've heard people say that they got into coaching and they had other coaches, mentors who said to them, you need to coach everybody with some skin on them. Yeah, no, that's not your ideal client. You need to get very, very clear about who your ideal client is. It's one ideal client. And I always say, name the gender, name the age range, no more than 10 years, understand the profession, the job, or the industry, whatever goes into you clarifying who that one ideal client is. And you need to know what kind of revenue, salary, or income they have. All of that really does shape at a very basic level how you choose to set your fees. Your ideal client is always, always, always ready, willing, and able to invest in themselves by hiring you. That's a WendyY-ism. Your ideal client is always, all caps, underline, circle, bold, always ready, willing, and able to invest in themselves by hiring you. Well, WendyY, what happens when somebody comes to me and they say, I believe they're my ideal client based on, everything you've said, but then when I get to the offer, they say, I really can't afford it. I can't afford it unless they're in survival mode, means that they are struggling. They are really not in a position when they're struggling, okay, when they're in survival mode. But I can't afford it really means I don't recognize the financial priority. I don't understand how to prioritize coaching based on the value that's been demonstrated to me today. It's about financial priority. It's not about the money, right? Your ideal client is always ready, willing, and able to invest in themselves by hiring you. Now, if you talk to someone and they are in the business of kind of jumping from guru to guru, jumping from expert program to program, then I would say you need to make sure you understand who's not your ideal, because you don't want someone who's jumping from program to program. You want a committed, dedicated person, ideal client who comes and shows up. She's coachable, he's coachable. And based on that, you can serve them deeply and compassionately and effectively, move them to the transformation. So they're non-ideal clients as well. And when I talk about non-ideal clients, I want you to understand some behavior patterns that tell you, like I said, first, the guru hopping, the program to program hopping. That's not your ideal client. The next one is someone who's haggling with you over your fees. Oh, well, I think that's too much to pay, and I'm not really wanting to invest that. If they're haggling with you, it means they don't see the value. And if you have not given them a picture of the value that they understand, then they may likely not be your ideal client. The last behavior that I want to describe is what I call cherry picking. It's what I call cherry picking. That means that they're looking at your program, and let's say you have 5 components. They say, oh, well, if we take number 3 out, what's the program cost? Your program is the program. You're not taking pieces and parts of it away so that they can reduce somehow the value and the price of the program. The value is the value. Your fee that you set is the fee. If they haggle with you over that, if they cherry pick it, if you're just one of many gurus that they've hired, or they're going to move on to the next one as soon as they feel like they've gotten what they needed from you, they are less than ideal clients. If they are truly your ideal clients and you believe that they have the ability to invest, then let them work it out. Let them work it out. When you're in a coaching session, that very first consultation with them, you get to ask a lot of curious questions. And when objections surface, it's your opportunity to find out what's really going on underneath the objection. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's, concern about moving forward or staying stuck or whatever the case is. Your role as a coach is to find out what's happening underneath the objection. Okay. But ideal client clarity and the power of one is a great way to know how to set or raise your fees with confidence. And let me say this, if you are attached to the outcome, that means that you're saying, oh, wow, I really need this sale. I want to get this money in. Then you've got what a friend of mine has referred to as commission breath. And clients can see your commission breath. It's almost like going out in the cold weather, and you get those bursts of it looks like smoke, but it's the difference between you being a warm body and walking out into the cold, and you can see your breath, right? Commission breath is very unattractive. Very unattractive. So you need to release your attachment to the outcome of the session or of whatever you're doing, and just be able to move through it with curiosity, to ask questions, to make sure that they're your ideal client. And understand, just because someone does a session with you does not mean you have to work with them. It doesn't mean that they have to hire you. It doesn't mean that you want them to hire you, right? When you are working with someone as a coach in that initial consultation, it's an opportunity for you both to evaluate if you think the chemistry is right, if you're the right coach for them, if you can help them achieve the outcome that they're interested in, if you can move them to the transformation they're seeking. It's a two-way street. You're looking at them just like they're looking at you. And so you have to be wise in that conversation and evaluate, not judge, but evaluate if they truly are your ideal client. And remember, your most ideal client is always ready, willing, and able to invest in themselves by hiring you. Okay. So ideal client clarity and the power of one is really, really important. The second thing you want to know when you are trying to set or raise your fees is setting and raising your fees requires boundaries. You've got to have really, really clear boundaries. That means you know how to say no, because all business is not good business. It means you know when to coach. And like I said, every client is not your ideal. That means you can point some people in other directions. Let me give you a couple of quick examples. A few years ago, I was coaching a client, and she was coaching people straight out of college and wondering why they couldn't afford to pay her. And I said, because they're coming out of college. They don't have the financial wherewithal or means to hire you as a coach. So fast forward a few years, and we started working together again last year, around this time last year. And she told me she's no longer working with that client, those kinds of clients, because now she has elevated her ideal client profile, and she refers the students who are coming out of school or grad school to someone who has the resources to support them. That's what I mean by knowing who your ideal client is, so that you can point them in another direction. I've had clients that have come to me, and in that initial session, I was able to determine they didn't need coaching. They weren't coachable. They needed some sort of therapy or counseling because there were traumas or tragedies that they still were very much engaged in. They had not healed from. I'm not saying you can't help people heal as a coach, but what I am saying is if they're not in a position to receive what it is you offer in the way of guidance and instruction, in the way of coaching and methodologies and tools that you can use to help them achieve certain transformation and results and outcomes, then you may need to refer them to someone else, right? For therapy, for counseling. Right? You need to decide that. Another thing you want to look at when it comes to clear boundaries, you've got to know that if you're going to work with someone, you get to make a decision about how you work with them. I have worked with clients who, for whatever reason, whatever they were going through, I knew they were going through some things. I knew that I could help them. And let me say it a different way. I knew that I could support them with some form of coaching. And so I coached them pro bono. That means I didn't charge them for coaching. When you create that kind of relationship, you've got to know when it starts. You've got to know when it ends. You need to be clear with them about the boundaries. We're going to do X number of sessions, and then, we'll move on. Then we'll reevaluate and determine if you're ready to actually invest at that point. You get to set the timeline. You get to set the boundaries for that. Same thing with bartering. I had a couple people when I first started my coaching business more than 20 years ago. I had a couple of people that I bartered with. My first accountant, I bartered with her. I coached her for 2 years. She did my books and managed my tax stuff for 2 years. That was an even exchange, right? I had an organizer that I bartered with. She organized me in my life, helped me declutter, and I coached her. Same thing, time for time, 3 sessions a month for her, three sessions a month for me. And when it was time for us to move on from that, then we were both clear. Now I pay you, right? Now I pay you to coach me. Now I pay you to organize me. And you've got to set the boundaries, the start and the end time for those kinds of relationships. The next thing you want to make sure that you understand when it comes to setting or raising your coaching fees, you've got to have commitment and dedication. Commitment and dedication, what it means is you do not reduce your fees just to make a sale. Just to make a sale, you don't reduce your fees. You don't discount your fees. You are committed to the fees that you set, and that's what you charge are the fees that you've identified, right? It also means that if you feel like your payment, your fees are a little on the high and you're a little uncomfortable, it's okay to make payment arrangements. It's okay to create plans for people, but they also need to be very clear and structured. No more than 3 payments within a payment plan, no more than 6 payments in a payment plan. You get to decide what that looks like. Now, I'm of the belief that if you charge for payment plans, then the fee goes up. The people who get the greatest benefit of your pricing, your fees, are the people who can pay it in one lump sum. That's how you want to start looking at it, right? So the people who are buying into payment plans, you get to decide if you want to do this, but this is my belief. If there's a payment plan, then there is a finance charge associated with that. And based on that finance charge, you want to make sure that you are taking into account the administrative situation you have to go through to manage those payment plans. If they're late, someone from your team or you're managing whatever that receivable looks like for you and your business. So all of that has to become something that you take into consideration. The last thing I want to say is when you are working with clients around commitment and dedication, it's your commitment to the fee that you've set and, increasing your fees, whatever that looks like, but it's also their commitment and dedication to believing in themselves at a higher level. So you get to challenge your clients on their belief about value. You get to elevate their thinking about how they see themselves and the investment they make in themselves by hiring you. So challenge your clients to higher level commitment and dedication, to higher level thinking, elevate their mindset around value for themselves. Okay. And then the next one I want to talk about is, let me scroll a little bit. You've also got to have excellent communication skills. It can be challenging to say no. It can be challenging to communicate around your fees and when they go up and why they went up. You shouldn't have to go into a whole lot of conversation about it. You just need to be clear in how you communicate what it is. When I talk about I charge for that, I'm not saying you tell people I charge for that. It's not a literal phrase. It's the spirit of the words, I charge for that. It's not literal. Don't say the words, because just saying I charge for that can be offensive. Like I've been somebody who said it and I could tell people were offended. You can communicate what you believe as the value of what you do. You can communicate the I charge for that way of thinking without being too harsh. You can communicate it in a way that people buy into what you offer. I charge for that follows the spirits of the word. The words I charge for that. So you say it with confidence, clarity, and eloquence. Again, it's not the 4 words, it's the spirit of the words. So maybe instead of saying, oh, well, my fee, I just recently increased my fees because I saw clients getting so much value from it. So where my fee was X number of dollars, now it's higher than that and it's X number of dollars. There's a way to communicate with eloquence and clarity and confidence without offending people. The last thing I want to say is I charge for that really does mean you speak with confidence, professionalism, and you reveal your expertise and you listen carefully to discover what may be getting in the way of your client taking that next step to work with you. Okay. Now, once you understand that the value of your coaching is stellar, I mean, it's high value, high touch. Now you need to understand the importance of you providing stellar service. That means that, when you are faced with something that may feel difficult or, worrisome with a client, it means that you walk through it, you talk through it with professionalism and with great service. If you have to deliver a refund, don't fight the client over the refund. If that's not what you really feel, you can communicate based on the last thing I said with eloquence, and you can decide how it wants to be. I opened my calendar up to do a one-on-one session with clients, and one client took me up on it, and it's a paid session. She invested in it. We worked through the session. I made her an offer. She took it, she accepted the offer. I charged her card, and we were off and moving. And when I sent her the agreement to start our formal coaching after that session, she said, well, I need to understand what we're really going to do in our coaching. And I went back to my notes and I told her what we were going to do. And she said, well, I don't think that's the value that I'm looking for. And I said, no problem. I refunded her money. We were off and running in different directions. Now, what I'm saying to you is, don't be so tied to, oh, well, they paid me and, they got to pay me. And, don't be tied to that. Be in a situation, be in a place where you accept when a client doesn't recognize the value of what you do so that you can move on. I just think energetically, you can get caught up in situations like that. Now, I did have another client who was part of a program that I had. And when we started coaching one-on-one, she was just very resistant to the coaching. And so what she finally said to me was, I feel like we're at odds about what I should be doing. And I said, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I just know from my experience, the strategy that you want to do isn't something that's going to yield the kind of results that you want. And I said, I think it's okay if we part ways. And we parted ways, and I, discontinued her enrollment in the program. And the thing that I said to her was, she said, well, I've already paid my money. And the thing that I said to her was, yes, you paid your money. And for that money, you've gotten value. I'm just not going to continue beyond this to get money from you because, we can cut our losses and move forward. And that's what we did. You have to be the one to move through service issues and not feel like you're somehow getting beaten up by the client or you're beating up the client, right? The thing that I also want you to know, there's a quote from Dr. Maya Angelou that says, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. And that's kind of what I'm saying to you. Believe clients when they show you how they are, what's going on the first time. And you want to be consistent in your professionalism, in your service, and how you address concerns with your clients as well. The last thing I want to say is, when you are talking to clients that are already in your programs, that you're already coaching, it is less expensive for you to retain a client than it is for you to go out and get new clients. The cost of referrals versus new clients or existing clients, there's like a deep divide between those two. So whatever you can do in the way of stellar service means that you're focused on retaining clients as well. And then the last thing I'll say is, your clients are interested in sending other clients your way. So the way you treat your clients is the way they talk about you to other people. I interviewed someone on my web TV show, this show, for a guest episode a few weeks ago. And she and I had worked together on her content marketing strategy and building a group coaching program several years ago. And she said to me when we got together, when we reconnected, and then we booked her guest appearance, she said, I tell people about you all the time, WendyY, because what you did for me was help me understand the clarity of what I do. I send people your way all the time. And I just thought, wow, that's really cool. And then later she said to me, after we had conducted our interview, she said, just so you know, I know that the next coach I have, I want to come back to you because you were so helpful with me before. That's the beauty of stellar service that you give your clients. When you're in a space where you are serving your clients and your service is impeccable, your word is impeccable, make sure that you are staying true to who you are. You're going to get clients who return. I have clients over 20 years who come back to me. Like they disconnect, they go off and they do some of the work. They might hire another coach, but they come back, right? And based on coming back, it's because they've had a good experience working with me. And that's how you want your service to be as well. Now, I've been talking about pricing, and over the next about 6 weeks, every week I'm going to talk to you about some other aspect of pricing and setting your fees. So tune in to every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, usually around 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern. I do this episode live, and it's also broadcast in replay on Roku, the Amazon TV, and through the Diamond Factor Experience Network. So I'm really grateful that you guys are here and supporting this content as well. All of this content that I'm sharing is to tell you a little bit more about my masterclass program, where we break down soup to nuts how you evaluate your pricing, what you do to set fees. And the thing that is most important, more than anything, I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you in a minute, Predictable Coaching Income is a 6-week masterclass program. We get down into soup and nuts around what your pricing should be based on. When I talk about Predictable Coaching Income, at the end of the program, you will have the beginning of your Predictable Coaching Income plan. And what that means is, you're going to have a strategy that's tied to a calendar so that you know exactly how much money you're going to make in the month of September or the month of October or January. You can plan for that. You can do your marketing so that you are shooting for those benchmarks and targets. And I'm going to show you how to do all of that in the Predictable Coaching Income Masterclass. Get all the details at predictablecoachingincome.com. Predictablecoachingincome.com is where you can go and find out more details. And I'm just excited. I would love to serve and support you in that program. There are people who have come through that program and now they see what they do in a whole different light. I was hosting a room on Clubhouse just yesterday, and one of my clients who came through that program, when he talked about being part of the masterclass program, he said it was like being in a program where you talked to us about building a house, and every time we talked about something, you showed us how to add a room to the house, and before we knew it, at the end of the program, we had a mansion that we had been selling for 50 cents. And now we know how to set the fee for that mansion in a way that represents the value and the contribution we're making to the client. I thought it was the greatest metaphor. I really thought it was the greatest compliment I could have. So that's what the Predictable Coaching Income Masterclass will do for you. Get all the details at predictablecoachingincome.com. Again, I hope to see you there. Now, if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on Clubhouse at profitablecoachingclub.com. I host rooms there at least once a week. Sometimes it's more frequently than that, but at least once a week. And because I host rooms there, I get a lot of traffic, a lot of clients from Clubhouse, because there are people out there not sharing the same level of value sometimes that I share. And that's fine. But if you want coach training, that's a great place to get it from me. And then if you miss any of the episodes, you can go back to profitablecoachingconversations.com and you can see the latest episodes there. You can hear the latest episodes because the podcast links will be there as well, and you can catch anything you miss. The last point I want to give you, this is the secret sauce, if you haven't heard it, for setting and raising your coaching fees. Value. The more value you gain, the more education, the more skills you have, the higher the value. And so is the price. So you can bank on setting your fees, raising your fees incrementally, and selling your coaching programs based on the value that you're bringing to the marketplace, based on the value that you're able to support your clients in. That's the beauty of value. right? That's how you set your fees. You have the right mindset. You focus on the right client. You provide stellar service. You are an excellent communicator. It means that you've got all of the tools necessary in your toolkit that really, when you put it all together, it's a big ball of value that you deliver to help your clients, to serve them more fully. So thanks so much for being here today. As a reminder, you can go and get more information about the program at predictablecoachingincome.com. And I would love to serve you and support you in getting your pricing all squared away. This has been a bonus episode of the Profitable Coaching Conversation Show with WendyY Bailey. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And if you caught the replay, let me know, and also post your questions as well. Take care, everyone. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for tuning into Profitable Coaching Conversations with WendyY Bailey. Be sure to join us at the after party at www.profitablecoachingsociety.com. We'll see you next time for more sales and marketing wisdom and insight from WendyY and her amazing guests. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you know when new episodes are posted.